Hi, I'm Franklin with the Travel Guy, and welcome to Croatia!
Come on now, there's a world out there and it's waiting to be explored. If you're craving an adventure, the Travel Guy's got what you're looking for. Sights, sounds, streets of town, just take a look around. Now to dream of paradise, there's advice we must bestow. Don't just pack your bags and hit the road, you gotta know before you go.
Croatia is located in southeastern Europe on the Adriatic Sea. As part of the former Yugoslavia, it shares borders with Slovenia, Hungary, Serbia, and Bosnia.
One of those must-see places when you visit Croatia is the city of Dubrovnik, especially the old city quarter. It's surrounded by these massive fortification walls. Now inside the city, you're gonna have these gorgeous picture spots. And to think, this place was founded by fugitives back in the 7th century.
One of the first sights from the wall was the bell tower, right in the middle of the main street. These walls encircle the historic old city of Dubrovnik for about 2 kilometers and are between 1.5 to 6 meters thick. The construction of these fortification walls started around the 12th century. I enjoyed my walk around the walls and took so many photos. Each was truly a postcard shot. The views of the city and the coastline are simply breathtaking. Inside the old city, there are many gems to explore.
A rector was an elected government official that presided over the various activities of the state councils. Now, in exchange for his service, he got to live in his own palace. Oh yeah, there was a couple catches though. 1, you were only elected for a month, and 2, you could not leave the palace unless it was for official government business or religious holidays.
Since the early 1400s, the rector's palace has been reconstructed many times because of fires, gunpowder explosions, and strong earthquakes. Today, the rector's palace serves as a cultural museum with all kinds of vintage war armaments on display. Just looking at these things gave me a great insight into Dubrovnik's turbulent history, and on top of that, it was quite intriguing. The other rooms of the museum contain works of art and furniture pieces of the time. Next to the rector's palace is the city treasury, housed in the Cathedral of the Assumption of Mary. This room is filled with all kinds of items made of gold. All behind protective glass, of course. To get to the treasury display, you'll have to walk through the cathedral itself, which is magnificent in its own right. After my walking tour, I needed a rest. Man, did I pick a great spot.
North of Dubrovnik, you'll find the medieval town of Ston. Its most impressive feature are its defensive walls that completely encircle the town. Now, it's about 5 kilometers to walk around the entire thing, and nobody seems to know when it was built. I'm gonna go take a walk and see what kind of view I can get. I met up with Ston local Mario to uncover some of the mystery surrounding the region. These walls are massive.
Yeah.
Do you know when they were built?
In 13th century.
13th century. And who built them?
Dubrovnik Republic.
The Dubrovnik Republic.
Yeah.
Why did they build such?
They use for the protect salt industry, because the salt industry in the history begin like the monopoly. You only can buy salt here in the Ston.
It's the second longest wall after the Wall of China. Is that true?
Yes, that's true.
Oh,
That's first in Europe.
The first in Europe.
Yeah.
Maybe the second in the world.
Second in the world.
Second's not bad.
Yeah.
Just over 50 kilometers from Dubrovnik lie the adjacent towns of Ston and Malistone on the Pelješac Peninsula. Malistone was built solely as a defensive town to protect its more powerful neighbor and has an impressive arrangement of walls and towers built in the shape of a pentagon. The construction of the fortress took over 200 years to complete and combined the genius of many notable medieval engineers. It's worth the climb to the top because Ston has an incredibly beautiful landscape with brilliant blue seas, rolling green mountains, and red rooftops. This area is a great escape from the standard tourist route. There are no luxury hotels, but there's great scenery, the longest fortifications in Europe, and some of the best sea salt in the world.
The salt is here the best because the quality of the sea. The sea is clean, and take the salt from the pool, we must use the sun, sea, and the wind.
Sun, sea, and wind.
Yeah.
The sea salt industry has been operational in Ston for centuries, and if you're lucky, you'll catch one of the region's spectacular sunsets.
Croatia has many must-see places if you had the time. But one place you should check out is the town of Korcula, on the island of Korcula. This place is noted for one famous family that lived here, the Polo family, and notably their famous son, Marco Polo.
The town was built in the 15th century. One structure you'll be drawn to is the large tower. A climb to the top provides a magnificent view of the harbor and spectacular architecture within Korcula. After a walk through the town's historic streets, I met up with Stanka from the local tourist office, who was going to give me a tour of Marco Polo's home.
Hey, Stanka, 1 minute.
Yes.
So this is where Marco Polo lived, huh?
Yes, this is the property of the family, which includes Marco Polo.
And what year was he born?
Well, we can't tell you for sure that he was born here, but what I can tell you, there is a permanently tradition telling Marco Polo comes from Korcula. And actually no proof if he was born here or he was born in Venice, you see.
Well, I'm excited. Let's go check out the rest of the house.
Yes.
Please.
Thank you.
Inside, there are narrow stairs to climb to get to the first floor, where you'll see family portraits. Ow! And yes, there is a very low doorway, which just left the mark on me. This is cool. Marco Polo's house has a lookout tower. Stanka wanted me to meet her at the top. She wanted to tell me about a unique attraction that takes place in Korcula each year.
And the other attraction, I would say even more interesting, it is the reconstruction of the naval battle. Yeah. Always in the first week of September, you see, with the, let's say, 15, 20 old-timer ships and the crew, Venetian and Genoa crew, and it's excellent, you see.
Wow, the views are spectacular. I was lucky to catch the Moreshka sword dance. It's a proud Korcula tradition that's also known as the fighting dance. Just so you know, the guys in red are the good guys. In short, the king in black kidnaps the beautiful princess because he loves her, but she doesn't love him, and the white king, who's really dressed in red, saves his true love. Now, did you follow that?
southern Croatian coastline is very beautiful and is dotted with numerous bays, beaches, and steep cliffs. One of the greatest ways to explore this Mediterranean landscape and incredible seas is by kayak, and that's exactly what I'm off to do today.
You will see some caves and some lovely rock formations, and then if you look around you will see a lot of little islands, like the island of Saint Andrea, where Jacques Cousteau was diving.
Oh, wow, okay.
And you will see the big island of Mljet, which is the fifth biggest island on the Adriatic.
And it has a national park, correct?
A national park with a lake in the middle of the island, and the monastery from 12th century on the middle of the little island.
Croatia has more than 1,000 islands to explore, and each one is unique. Experienced paddling is recommended because the waters can get very rough. But if you have a sense of adventure, then the very capable guides are willing to teach. With the freedom a kayak gives you, what better place to explore than the Adriatic waters? They're rich with a multitude of historical coastal sites, little bays and coves, and clear turquoise water. Many astronauts have claimed the Adriatic is the bluest place on Earth, and I believe them. The seas are warm most of the year and provide a dream destination for kayakers.
The Croatians have invented many things that are in global use today. One of them is the pen. The other is the cravat, or better known as the tie, which has a very fascinating history, which I'm going to learn about.
Now, who better than Ivana, the former Miss Croatia, to teach me? Our first stop was the tie shop, where she picked out a few ties for me. Okay, do you honestly think I was paying attention to the ties she was picking out? Oh, come on, of course I was.
So Ivana, I'm just assuming that the tie was invented by a very, very fashionable man.
You're wrong.
Oh.
The tie was invented by women.
Oh, that makes sense.
Many, many years ago, actually many centuries ago, in Croatia, once upon a time, the girls were actually giving their scarves that look like neckties to their fiancés. And it was especially during the times when they were facing some crucial moments in their lives. And they were usually tying them. So there is another story about Croats and the neckties. It goes back to 17th century. So in 17th century, Croatian soldiers wore neckties. Actually, they wore scarves that looked like neckties. And after them, those scarves were named cravats or Croats. Soon it became fashion, first in France and then all over the world. So now we'll try to tie the tie. Okay. Okay. So the bigger part goes above.
Okay.
And then you roll it for 2 times. And then like this. And another knot here. And then you just tie it. We'll try. Well, I was practicing all day.
The cravat.
The cravat.
And I'm making a fashionable statement, but leave it to a woman to invent one of man's most fashionable clothing items.
Man, people were staring at me, but I know it was because of the Dalmatian print tie I was wearing. Now I felt really cool, and I showed it walking down the main street.
Just off the coast of Dubrovnik, you'll find the Elaphite Islands, which are easily accessed by either boat charter or ferry service. They were a favorite of Dubrovnik nobility back in the day, and today they're a favorite of tourists and locals, a great place for relaxation.
I hopped on one of the old wooden tall ships and headed to the islands.
The Elaphite Islands have long been a favorite playground for the Dubrovnik aristocracy, and apparently they're a favorite playground because they have so much sun. Where are you hiding the sun?
Behind the mountains.
Yeah, right, I don't believe you. So, how many islands actually form the archipelago?
There's 13 islands, but only 3 of them are inhabited now.
Okay.
Most of them were inhabited back in the history of 15th and 16th century when Dubrovnik Republic was at its peak.
Right.
And now the most popular is the middle one that we are just passing because of the sandy beaches.
And what's the name of that one?
Laput. They have been famous in the history for shipbuilding yard, for exploitation of corals,
Right.
production of salt, olive oil, and wine production. Now most of them are visited by the people who want to have some swim in the sandy beaches.
People who just want to relax,
Yes.
get away from everyone.
On most of them there is no vehicles, and they are very luxurious vegetation known for.
And now, why are they called the Elaphite Islands?
They were called like that already in the 1st century by a Greek explorer, Plinius the Elder, who drew a map of these islands, and when he looked at it, it was like one big deer getting ready to jump. So in Greek is Elaphos.
Azra continued to explain what truly makes these islands unique. And finally, we reached our first stop, the southernmost inhabited island in Croatia, Koločep. It's about a 20-minute boat ride from the harbor in Dubrovnik, and there are 2 settlements on the island, Gornje Čelo and Donje Čelo. Both are situated in their respective coves with a winding 3-kilometer walkway in between. This tiny island has approximately 150 inhabitants and a significant amount of archaeological remnants. These artifacts are from the ancient European conquerors who visited the island and date back to the Greek and Roman eras. We hopped back on board and were on our way to the largest of the Elaphite Islands, Šipan. But Mother Nature wasn't exactly very cooperative. Šipan is much larger than its sister island of Koločep and has numerous olive, fig, almond, and citrus trees, which is what I would have seen, but I had to hop back on board as my ship was attempting to sail before the storm really hit. Despite the rain and lightning outside, there was plenty of cheer to go around. All on board were entertained by the local musicians playing traditional Croatian folk music.
This dish is a mixed shell dish, and I can't wait because I love shellfish. We start off with the oil again.
Kad se zagrije ulje,
You start putting in a mixture of chives, garlic, and a little bit more oil. Smells just so good. These are Noah's Arch oysters. Cook them for about 1 minute before you start putting the other oysters in.
I meant mussels, not oysters.
Okay.
You can add a few different varieties of mussels, basically to your taste.
Cannot interrupt a master chef while he's cooking. Did I do it?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow, this is awesome.
Bravo. Kad bude gotovo, kad se otvore, zalećemo vino.
When the shell's open, then it's time to flavor it with the wine. White wine, that is.
Daj minut. No.
Oh.
Yes.
You gotta wait till they really open up so the wine soaks in and you get the flavor of the mussels just right. No?
2 minut.
Zvetan tells me that it's important to let them simmer for about 3 minutes. Seems like an eternity to me.
No.
Oh.
Yes.
Yes?
Finally, I added the wine and began to smell that succulent aroma.
Wow. Now I get the breadcrumbs.
Wow. Come on. Finish.
Wow.
Presentation is everything, as I've learned, and I know it makes me hungrier.
Super.
What goes good with this? These are delicious. The flavor is just exploding in your mouth. I want to have another one.
Ostavi za goste. Treba njima.
He said he put me to work. These are for his actual customers, not for me. Hey, Lauren.
Hey, Frank, how's it going?
It's going great. You know, southern Croatia is just spectacular. I visited Dubrovnik, marvelous city, and then I went to Korcula, and I visited the house of Marco Polo. What a fascinating experience. And you know, there's so many things that have been invented here, things that we take for granted every day. If any country deserves the title of the mother of invention, it's Croatia.
What, you didn't have any food?
Oh, come on.
Croatia is a stunningly beautiful country. I had the opportunity to explore the Elaphite Islands both by boat and by kayak, and what an adventure that was. I also visited the town of Ston and was wowed by its massive defensive walls.
Well, you know what, Lauren? It really pays to know before you go.
Frank, you want a photo?
Yeah.
All right, back up a little there.
Okay.
Go on, one more.
Drive times are quite misleading. The main road weaves around every mountain and inlet along the coast, making your drive that much slower. Remember to tack on at least 30 to 60 minutes or more if you're traveling long distances. To really experience life and culture in Croatia, why not rent a room or an apartment from a family-run apartment house? Not only will you soon become part of their family, but look at the view you might get. You're going to find fountains like this in many of the tourist destinations. Not only are they a great place to watch people go by, but because most of them are fed by natural spring water, a great place to refresh yourself. You should know that souvenirs and gift items are higher priced in the tourist destination areas, but if you can just walk a block or two outside of those areas, those same items are at a cheaper price. And that's a good thing if you like to shop.
Perfect.